Hello, everyone. We are finally back with another episode of Literally What. I have been so excited to sit back down and chat with you guys. I missed you and this so much, and we have so much to catch up on, so many stories, so many fun things, and the cat is back to say hello because he missed you guys too and being the star of the show. I can't believe it's December, first of all. So crazy. There is so much coming up, but also so much has happened. We drove up to Georgia to see some of our family for Thanksgiving, and we were there for, I think, like literally 2-3 days. It was so quick, but just good to kind of see everyone. We drove back. We leave for New York next week, which, a little housekeeping, next week's episode won't be up on Saturday as usual. It's going to be up probably Monday or Tuesday. I didn't want to wait another 2 weeks. So it'll just be up a couple days later because we don't get back from New York until I think like that weekend. But I will make sure to do a whole recap section in next week's episode for how New York was, because I am seriously so excited. But yeah, just such a great Thanksgiving break. So fun to just be with everyone, be with family. And we have all of our Christmas stuff up officially. So that is all done. And now I'm just in cleaning, packing, decluttering mode, because whenever we go on vacation, we all know I have to have the house looking like it's perfect. Especially we have our cat sitter come watch Waffles. And so I like to make sure the house is like stunning, because I just hate having like a somewhat dirty house and someone seeing it. I don't know. I'm weird about it, but that's been my mode, is just cleaning and packing. And the one thing that I'm so we assumed that New York was going to be really, really cold because it's been like 30s when we've been checking. And when we get there, it's going to be, I think, highs of 50s and 40s, which low-key ruins all of my outfits I had planned, because I had the cutest, like, just really big jackets. I have this really pretty fluffy red jacket. I just had all these outfits planned, and the weather's just not going to allow for these outfits. I still might bring them and just like wear them for pictures, but we have to kind of reevaluate our packing situation, because I don't think it's going to be as freezing as we thought it would be, which I'm glad, because I don't want my toes and fingers to go completely numb. But the outfits would have been so cute. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe it will snow, fingers crossed, because we're there for a hot minute. So we will see how it goes. What else? I finished the Throne of Glass book series. If you guys have read it, heard of it, it's an 8-book series. And I finished it. Me and my friend actually finished it like around like a couple days of each other. And I don't know how to feel. I kind of feel accomplished, but I also feel empty, because it's like you read a series for so long and then it's just kind of over, and I don't know where to go from there. So my friends have given me a few options of where to go. One of my best friends recommended Light Lark. She read that, said it's really good. I've heard a lot about Fourth Wing. That's again in the like fairy, or not fairy, but I think it's more in fantasy. With me and like a long series, I love the fantasy aspect. When it's a series, I don't think I've really strayed away from fantasy in a long series. And so I'm just going to read all of the fantasy books until the ACOTAR book 6 comes out, because I'm still dying for that book. Anyway, and then I also just need suggestions for when I travel. I bring my Kindle. My sister got me a Kindle for, it was either Christmas or my birthday. And I love using my Kindle for just like one book reads, like a quick one, like a murder mystery or like a spicy or any of those. I just love using it on my Kindle instead. I do prefer reading in pages, but I think when I'm on the plane and traveling, it'll be easier to have my Kindle with me. So I need to find shorter books, just because when I read a series or anything like that, I have to have a paper to write, to underline, to annotate, like I'm back in freaking English in 10th grade, but it just helps me remember things. And I always, at the end of a chapter of a book, write out like little summary notes of the chapter, so that when I go and pick back up the book, I can look back and be like, oh, what's happened, kind of thing. But with a Kindle, I feel like if I'm just reading like a Frida mystery book, that'll be like easier. You know the vibes of that. So that's what I'll be doing also, is just kind of looking at different books to read on the airplane, because we all know I'm deathly afraid of an airplane. So I will be drinking some wine and having a good book to read on the plane, and then I'll be set. Hopefully, we'll see, because I think it's like a 2.5 hour. But like one day I know I want to go super far, and I'm going to have to fly over the ocean. And and I don't know how that's going to go. I'm going to need to be medicated for that or something, because that is just too much for me to think about right now. New York is a good distance for me. That's about as far as I'll go. Anyway, I think that's everything that I have to, and then, oh my gosh, if you guys didn't see on my Instagram, I had the amazing opportunity to do an article interview with Bold Journey magazine. So that is up in my Instagram link tree. I also have it in my highlights, and I posted a picture on my Instagram feed at Literallyywhatt, and that was just so much fun, just to kind of look back over the last year and kind of why I started this podcast, and just, it was really cool to kind of answer the questions that they had for me and talk a little bit about me and my journey and all of that fun stuff. So definitely go read that, check it out. That was so much fun. I just feel so grateful that I was able to do that. And that's, I think, everything I had to catch you guys up on. So now we can hop into our stories and all of our hot gossip, hot takes, stories, and advice. I think I said that right. I haven't done this forever, but that will have you saying, literally what? Okay, you guys, I was trying throughout the break to make sure and save different things I wanted to talk to you guys about. So obviously, I'm sure I might have missed some crazy headline, and if I did, I apologize. But I think we have a good list of stories, and I was trying to figure out how to organize them because there was so much I wanted to say, so many things to talk about. But we're going to start off with something that is the most recent. Spotify Wrapped 2024 came out recently, and we're going to talk about it. I feel very strongly about this opinion. I love Spotify Wrapped. I rarely look at Instagram stories, and if I do, it's just clicking through really, really fast to get the bubbles off of the top of my Instagram feed. But on Spotify Wrapped Day, I will go through every single person's story because I am completely obsessed with looking at people's Spotify Wrapped. And I don't know what it is, but I think it's just kind of a mirror into someone's life. And, you know, we see people on Instagram and we see their highlight reels, and no one's really posting bad things going on in their lives very often, or just like more intimate details about themselves. But I think with Spotify Wrapped, especially when it's like my best friends or like family members or just like celebrities that I follow or anything like that, I love seeing a look into what people are listening to. And a lot of times I'm shocked by, you know, their top artists or like music genres. And some other times I'm like, you know what, that makes complete sense. And like, I love this for you. And that just completely fits you and your personality. And other times I'll find people who have the same maybe favorite song or artist or anything that I do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can connect to you on that level as well. So I don't know what it is, but I just love it. And I hate the people who are haters of Spotify Wrapped, who were like, no one gives a crap about your Spotify Wrapped. Why are you posting this on Instagram stories? Like, no one cares. This is the worst day of the year. And to you, all I have to say is delete the app for 24 hours and you don't have to deal with it. Why are you complaining? Just delete the app. Don't look at it. You don't need to get on social media and complain about it, because that literally defeats the purpose and you're just giving more attention to it. I just don't understand, because it's so simple to just ignore. Don't get on the app for 24 hours, or just don't look at Instagram stories. Because a lot of us, I know there are so many people out there who we actually thoroughly enjoy and love looking at people's Spotify Wrapped. And if I could look at every single person's Spotify Wrapped, I would spend a good chunk of my day doing that, because I am obsessed with it and I think it's so much fun. And to all you haters, you probably are just a hater of music. You probably are just a hater of learning more about the people that you care about in your life. So that's all I have to say about that. But I was so excited about Spotify Wrapped and to see everyone's. However, it let me down this year, you guys. When I was going through my Wrapped, I first was kind of like, is this all there is? There was nothing exciting. There wasn't really a theme. And then it just kind of ended. And I was left with so many questions, because if you guys remember last year, 2023, it was like an astrology theme, and it had like your rising and like all of this really cool stuff. It had your favorite genres, like what type of music you listen to. It was so cool. And this year, way shorter, not a lot of information. I mean, it just kind of gave like your top artists, top songs, minutes listened to. I did get a video from Post Malone because he was my top artist per usual. But I was really disappointed with it. And I think what's more disappointing is Spotify's the one that started this. You know, like Apple Music does their own little thing, but it's because of Spotify, and so many people love Spotify Wrapped, and like I always look forward to it. But I feel like A, it was way too short. B, no creativity. C, there's no way mine was that accurate. Post Malone, yes, but the songs that were in my top listen to, I couldn't even tell you the last time I listened to them, and they're not even in my liked songs. The only songs I really listen to are the ones that I have in my liked songs playlist, and that's about it. So I genuinely, it sounds like they literally took maybe a couple months, and that's how they compiled the information, because my top song, I think, was one of the ones by Post Malone's, his new album, F1 Trillion, but I only listened to that for literally a month. It's like, because his album came out in August? And that's my top song. I know it wasn't, because I listened to music the whole year. Also, you guys are gonna, okay, again, I'm not a Taylor Swift hater. I love Taylor Swift. I just don't listen to her music. Tell me how my number 2 listened to artist was Taylor Swift. I don't have any of her songs in my liked besides her like old ones. I never search to listen to her music. I don't listen to her music. When I do, like, majority of the time on Spotify, I'm strictly listening to podcasts. And then if I listen to music, it's like on a night drive, and it's normally like an EDM or Post Malone or like pop 2000s. And so I don't know where they got that information, and I didn't feel like it was accurate at all. And I also wish that they just added more, and I was really disappointed with it, honestly. And I think that hopefully they will take into account all of everyone's feedback, because I've seen a lot of people feel this way, and really turn it around next year. Maybe give us a theme, give us way more information, because I know you can give us more information, because I've been doing this Spotify Wrapped for years now, and I was just disappointed in it. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. But we are going to take a look at stats for just overall, who was the most streamed, and, no one is surprised that it is Taylor Swift. And I've always had this feeling that I wouldn't be surprised if Spotify or an artist, or they rig it in a way where if they're a popular artist that year, they're going to show up on everyone's list in some form or fashion. Which is why, like, my theory, Taylor Swift's the number 1 most streamed, but why is she my number 2 artist on Spotify when I know for a fact I don't listen to her? It's just weird, and I don't know, but she was the number 1 most streamed artist globally. Tortured Poets Department was the most streamed album of the year, obviously. Some other ones that were really high up, The Weeknd, Bad Bunny, Drake, and Billie Eilish. So I don't know. I think Espresso got the most streamed song worldwide, but also why was she not? I feel like she would have been higher up on the most listened to artists, but also I guess the other artists have way more albums, and she kind of is a new-ish artist, so maybe that's why. But anyway, they also did Spotify Wrapped for audiobooks of the year, and guess what came in number 1 for the most streamed author? Sarah J. Maas, my girl, Court of Thorns and Roses. Court of Thorns and Hello, that's a tongue twister, but A Court of Thorns and Roses, that was the top audiobook. And then Sarah J. Maas, who wrote it, she was also the top book artist. So go her. I love that. There's a AI generated podcast about your 2024 music listening. Why are we using AI? I just feel like we shouldn't be using AI, because clearly it sucked. So don't do that again. But kind of interesting. I don't know. I was disappointed, but I'm glad I got Posty and I got my cute little video from him, and that was fun. So anyway, our next story, we're going to jump into Dancing with the Stars finale recap. I can't believe it's over. I'm like actually so sad, but I have been filling my time with Survivor. You guys, if you've never seen Survivor, watch this season. I beg of you. It's on Paramount Plus, because the way that I've been watching Survivor since I was probably like 10 years old. And this last week's Blindside was the craziest thing I've seen in so long. I actually jumped up off of my couch and was screaming, because something about the show, and when a Blindside happens, it just like is so good, and you need to watch it if you need a show. Watch this season, and then I promise you'll want to watch every other season of Survivor, because it's so good. Anyway, Dancing with the Stars finale. What a crazy season, and we're going to go through all the dances again, but the one thing I have to say, I do not want to see Carrie-Anne come back at all. I really think she's trying to get fired based on what I've seen, because for her, we'll just wait to get into it, but literally she needs to go, like leave. So we had all 5 couples return, because again, no one went home after the semifinals. We had Steven and Riley. They did a quick step again, like the first round was like a redemption dance. So like a dance they didn't do well. One of the previous weeks, they kind of, you know, have a redemption and do better, blah, blah, blah. So they did a quick step to I'll Be There For You. And I thought it was really good. They got a 29 out of 30. Joey and Jenna did their cha-cha redemption dance to, what did they do it to? I can't remember. But they got a 30 out of 30 because, again, he's amazing. Love him. Danny and Whitney did a tango because, again, they did their tango week one. You know, any week one dance besides Joey's isn't going to be, like, amazing. But he got a 27 out of 30. I don't know. I guess that makes sense. But then we had Alona and Alan. They did the jive, which again, the jive was really when she had her breakdown moment. And like, I feel like when I watch Dancing with the Stars, I really think the jive is probably either that or quick step maybe is like the hardest because there's just so much with your feet. And if you mess up, like you're screwed, you know, like you can't really, once you're off beat with the feet like that, it's kind of hard to like find the rhythm again. But they got a 27 out of 30, so much better. And then Chandler and Brandon did a jive again, got 30 out of 30. Then we had freestyles. Oh, you guys. Okay. Just in general, all of these 5 freestyles, besides Stephen Riley, okay, so the other 4, but if you guys have seen some of the other seasons freestyles, these were not like jaw-dropping. I wasn't like insanely impressed. I don't know. Like, let me know if you guys feel that way because if you've seen previous freestyles, they go all out and I just don't feel like they really did this season. I don't know why. But I will say, so Stephen and Riley's freestyle, I did tear up when it was the spotlight on him and his other Olympian teammates doing the pommel horse routine. I thought that was so amazing. I think this freestyle really showcased, you know, the feelings and just different dances and also just like their last time dancing together. And I thought it was so moving and meaningful and impactful. And I literally was tearing up. I thought it was amazing. And especially that Coldplay song. I mean, one of my dreams is to see a Coldplay concert. So the Viva La Vida song just kind of elevated that. And that was by far my favorite freestyle. I was obsessed and that got all 10s, of course. Now we're going to go to Joey's, okay? They did their whole freestyle based on like him and being a tennis coach. I thought it was so fun. I thought it was so upbeat, so cool. And of course, Carrie Ann gives him a freaking 9, saying, you know, it just was a bit underwhelming. I don't think it was, personally. I think other people's were a little bit more underwhelming, but this was not underwhelming to me. I thought it was amazing. I thought there was so much going on. I loved it, but he got a 29 out of 30. And here's my thing. I think every freestyle you need to give out 10s because this is their last dance. They work really hard. Jenna put this whole amazing choreography together, and for her to just kind of be just so kind of rude and just like it was disrespectful. It's their last dance. She put a lot of work into it. Joey put a lot of work into it. And to just like, you know, and honestly, I'm glad they won. I wanted them to win. They were my number 1 couple, but I also, that was a good F you to Carrie Ann. Like, you're going to give me a 9 and I'm going to win. I'm going to win. So you suck and you need to be fired because you can't do your job right. Anyway, Danny and Whitney's, I didn't like it. It got a 29 out of 30. He didn't really dance a lot. Like, I love the theme. He was a perfect Ken, but like, I'm sorry. I didn't, it was very underwhelming. This was an underwhelming dance to me. That was, because it was just kind of like, it was shorter. There wasn't a lot of movement. I don't know. And then Alona and Alan, I listen, I loved the song. I loved the message. I loved the story. They had so much fun dancing their last time together, but it felt short to me. Does anyone else feel that way? I don't know. Ugh. But they got all 10s. Still an amazing dance, and like I still rewatch it, but I just felt like, other than that like beginning wow moment, it didn't wow me. But her outfit was amazing. Oh my gosh, she looks so good. And then we had Brandon and Chandler who did, what what was it called? It was like a history that they're the two being the first Black couple to make it to Dancing with the Stars finale. So they really did a cool like start of them watching the TV, and then they were on it, and then they did a whole dance. And she is an amazing dancer. I think really just what got in her way is she was the only one on this season that had dance experience, and I think that's really why she placed where she did. But it was, I mean, they're just amazing dancers. So anyway, 5th place was Danny and Whitney. I was kind of shocked at that, but also just seeing the freestyle. I don't know. Listen, I love the freestyle theme, but it was just kind of funny. And then 4th place was Steven and Riley, and I was kind of upset because after watching their freestyle, I was like, why do I kind of want them to like get really high up or like win? Because they were just like, they did so good. And then Chandler and Brandon, everyone was upset about this, but like if you are chronically online like I am, she didn't have the popular votes just because people were like, she's danced before, like she's good every time. We want someone to win who has improved, kind of thing. And then it was down to Alona and Joey. And for a second, I was like, is Alona going to win this? Because she has a ton of followers and everyone loves her and Alan. She has the best content. So for a second, I literally was like, she's going to win this. And then they announced that Joey and Jenna won, which I was insanely happy about. I wanted them to win. And the fact that Val got to hand the mirror ball down to his wife was so amazing. And just overall, I loved it. Great finale. I'm really sad because I don't really think anyone's going to top this cast for a long time. I'm excited to see who will be announced for next season. And I wish, so if you guys watched before, they used to do 2 seasons a year. And I wish that they would go back to that because this show has gained so much popularity. Like everyone I know is watching this if they haven't before. And I'm obsessed. So anyway, I'm kind of sad that it's over, but I am just waiting for the next season because it's just such a good show. Alrighty, so our next story is just about the Wicked movie. And you guys, I still haven't seen it. And like when I tell you every video is of the Wicked movie, and I know there's a spoiler, and I was like, I'm not going to see the spoiler. Like, I just won't look it up. I will skip through. And of course, it was spoiled for me, so I know what the spoiler is at one short day. But I'm literally so excited. And I also like kind of want to wait in a way to watch it because then I'm gonna have to wait a whole other year for part 2. And I just have this built up excitement about seeing this movie because everyone I know who has seen the Wicked on Broadway, which I've seen Wicked on Broadway and at the Fox Theater, so like I know the story, I know the lore, I am obsessed with Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, so I know in my head like if it didn't meet in a way the expectation I have of the Broadway show of Wicked, I would be upset. But my mom saw the movie and she said it was good, amazing, she loved it, and she was nervous because we've both seen it so many times as the musical. The only thing she said was she doesn't do the same note as Idina Menzel in Defying Gravity at the end, which if you've seen the musical, you know it's just like such a critical part. But anyway, it's so funny to me to see people on TikTok, on Instagram, talking about this movie and not really knowing what's happening in the next part, because I'm like, how do you not know? But I just grew up always knowing and listening to the whole soundtrack, and I know like who turns into who, what happens in Act 2, like all of that. So it's funny seeing people like try not to get spoiled about what happens and like not knowing what's going on, and in the back of my head I'm laughing because I'm like, you have no idea, like it's so good, the lore behind it. But they have already grossed, is it grossed or grossed, because I never know how to pronounce it, but $379.2 million worldwide so far. Funny enough though, apparently Moana really outdid the Wicked numbers, how much money it made, which I think is kind of crazy. But also, if you have kids, you're probably going to see Moana, not Wicked. Anyway, but I'm very excited to see the movie. I love just seeing everything on Instagram and TikTok because I'm just like building up so much excitement. And like, I really haven't seen any clips besides the What Is This Feeling choreography because everyone's obsessed with that. But I haven't seen anything yet. And I'm so excited to when I finally get to see it. And I will do a full recap of it because I'm going to be picky because I love the musical. And when I heard they were coming out with a movie a long time ago, I was like, I just don't know how they're going to do it justice. So we'll see. We will see. All right, our next story, we all know I love true crime. And the JONBENÉT Ramsey case, which I have been very much, I don't know, I've always just been so curious. And I feel like my mind always changes on my thoughts and opinions on the case. But this happened a while back. And all of a sudden, it's coming back, very popular. Crime Junkie did like an over 3-hour episode of this, and then Netflix just came out with a documentary, which I have not seen yet because apparently it was done with the dad of JONBENÉT, like he's part of it. And so if you haven't heard of this case, it's crazy, but everyone's just starting to talk about it and bring it up again, but not in like the same way, because apparently the documentary on Netflix is a more like, basically when this first came out, and what I don't know if I believe anymore, it's a lot, and this is still a cold case, so I don't, everyone has different opinions, but basically she was this beautiful pageant girl. She was 6 years old, and then apparently the parents woke up. Well, they all went to a Christmas party the night before Christmas. They all go home, get to bed. Mom wakes up, goes downstairs. There's a ransom note, a handwritten 3-page ransom note with their own paper in their home, basically saying like, we need this much money from you, or, you know, and then if you call the police, like, we have your daughter, kind of whole vibe. And then they found the daughter dead in the basement. So there's just a lot, and I would encourage you all to kind of like do your own research on this. But a lot of what people originally thought was there was something, you know, some sexual abuse going on, and the parents were very involved in what happened, and blaming the parents, blaming the brother she had, who was, I think, 9 at the time. And so now when it's coming back into light, they're not really talking about that portion. They're not talking about the parents. They're really just talking about other potential people who could have done it. And, you know, just, it's just interesting, kind of how people can shift, you know, their views of what happened. So listen, I get we can't just blame things based on, you know, because she was in pageants and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, there could be something that has to do with that. There could be other people who were involved in the pageant and then knew the family. And, you know, like, there's so many things that could have happened. But I think the Netflix series involving the dad, obviously they're not really talking about, you know, if the parents were ever a suspect or if they were hiding anything about the brother. So now it kind of shifted to other things. And I don't know. I haven't watched all of it. I think I started the first like 20 minutes of the documentary. And also the Crime Junkie episode. So Ashley actually interviewed the dad as well. So I think it's important, yes, to get all this information with them. But I also kind of want to find sources that the dad is not involved in as well. I don't think the parents did it. Am I 100% on that? No. Pineapple Theory, I need to talk about that. I honestly could have my own podcast about true crime, but there's too many out there. So I don't know. It's just interesting. But let me guys know. Oh my gosh. Let me know, you guys, what your thoughts are on this. If you've watched a documentary, if you've listened to episodes about this long before, because it's just interesting, all the different theories that are going around. And it's honestly so sad. And I just, at the end of the day, like, we just want families and people to get justice for what happened. You know what I mean? That's all we can really hope and pray for. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting how it's coming back up and just becoming a more very popular case. So our next story is some exciting news about love, and that is Josh Allen and Hailee Steinfeld are now engaged. And let me just say, I love Josh Allen because he is always my quarterback for fantasy football. And he's never let me down. And I also, Hailee Steinfeld, I don't love her in Pitch Perfect, but I love her music. She makes really good bangers. And so I was really happy for them. And he, of course, played the 49ers, and he was getting asked a ton of questions about, you know, how does it feel playing as, you know, being engaged, and after popping the question to Hailee. And so he won a huge win over the 49ers, 35-10. And so he was just like, it felt good. It felt free. And then later they were talking about how when he was going to propose to Hailee, and how he was just smiling the whole time, and how he was just so excited for it and glad that they are now engaged. And so he asked her the question and said that she was very genuinely surprised, and said that she had no idea he would be getting down on one knee. He proposed in Malibu. They haven't set any wedding plans yet. They're still figuring it out. the families and other people who were just like, you know, giving information to people, but said that they've been head over heels for each other from the start. The families are thrilled. And I love this couple. I don't think there's many celeb couples who like a lot of people root for, and I love them together. And I think this is just so exciting, and I'm excited for them. Our next story is something super exciting as well, because it's about one of my, which honestly, okay, how is this girl not on my top artist listen to? If you're listening to this, Kayla, Miley Cyrus. What the hell's going on with that? But Miley Cyrus is in creative exploration phase for a 2025 comeback tour that can make her a fortune. If this is true, I swear to God, I will sell anything to go pay for this. Which is insane. It's been, I think, like 10 plus years since she's toured. But a source exclusively tells In Touch that the possibility of bringing in big bucks has her considering hitting the road again. Why not your fans? But whatever. The conversation around Miley's touring plans in 2025 is heated up during the last 2 months. It's been years since she's done a full-scale tour. Instead, she's really focused on songwriting and recording. But facing the fans in giant arenas on multiple continents can make her a fortune. And at some point, it's irresponsible to turn your back on that kind of money. I get that. But also, just do it because you enjoy it, you know? Miley is in the creative exploration phase, figuring out what the next tour will look like. This isn't about topping Taylor Swift or Pink. It's about reinventing what a giant pop culture concert actually looks and sounds like. And if Miley can find a way to truly innovate with that kind of experience, she'll go through with it. However, the clock is ticking. Miley needs to make some very firm decisions the next several weeks. Everybody's rooting for her to put it together. And if it isn't amazing, it's not worth it for Miley to do. She did not tour after her successful Flowers song. So yeah. She said, when was this? She said, singing for hundreds of thousands of people isn't really the thing that I love. There's no connection, no safety. It's not natural. It's so isolating because you're in front of 100,000 people and then you're alone. And then fans were disappointed over that. And so she took to social media to say, for clarity, I feel connected to my fans now more than ever. When I win, we win. Even if I don't see them face to face at a concert, my fans are deeply in my heart. I just don't want to sleep on a moving bus. It isn't what's best for me right now. So listen, I can understand that, because I'm sure that can be a lot. Like, and I'll never know that, but to sit on a stage by yourself in front of a ton of people, of course that's not intimate. And I mean, we know that with Taylor Swift, like, she makes very intimate moments, like Give the 22 Had Away and just like looking at the fans in the front row. But, you know, I think there can be more intimate ways that artists feel connected to people, like when she won a Grammy. So yes, it does sound kind of a little selfish that she wants to tour because she needs, you know, it's a great way to make money, and it'd be kind of crazy not to do it. But, you know, it's also kind of like, keep that to yourself and make up a different reason for why you want to do a big tour. But listen, I'll still try to go, because Miley Cyrus, is she under or above Post Malone for me? Now, she did like a Hannah Montana and Miley are above Posty. So anyway, we'll see what happens with that, but just some interesting news that I had to talk about. Our next story is a little bit of Bravo news, which, first of all, Summer House, when is that coming back? Because I need to watch that so bad. But anyway, Vanderpump Rules. I know if you're in the Bravo world, there was a lot of up and downs on, are they going to be doing a new season? Because, you know, Ariana obviously doesn't want to film with Tom, or, you know, a lot of people. But Vanderpump Rules is being rebooted. However, they are getting an entire new cast for season 12. Lisa Vanderpump will still be there, so I'm assuming they'll just get other people who work at SUR. Now, I think this is a good idea. However, they could have just made a whole different show and just left Vanderpump Rules ended as it is. And when I thought about why they didn't keep the original cast, you got to think, like, they probably asked for so much money. And I'm sure if you have new people coming in on a cast, you're not paying them near what the other people who have been there for years and years are making. Plus, we have The Valley, which, when is that coming back? Because I'm obsessed with that show, and I believe Lala, Sheena, and Schwartz are going to be on that show, which is going to make it unbearable to watch, but we'll still get to see some of our Vanderpump people, I guess, whatever. And it's also interesting because apparently Jax Taylor, obviously him and Brittany are divorced, and he's apparently classified himself as a narcissist. I don't even know, he's just the worst. But during filming for season 2, he apparently had to be taken to like some mental health facility. So something crazy must have happened for season 2, and I'm so excited to watch it because I'm sure we're gonna get all the like divorce stuff, and like all the couples are kind of like separated. So I think it's gonna be a crazy season, and it's gonna get a lot of viewership. But as for Vanderpump Rules, no original cast, but a whole new cast, and maybe I'll watch it if it's still like Sir and Lisa. Then yeah, I guess I'll do it. Also, Kristen Doty, who was on Vanderpump and now on The Valley, she announced that she is pregnant. So that's exciting news as well, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of that info. But just a lot going on in the Vanderpump Bravo realm, and I'm excited for it. And we're going to stay on the topic of TV news because one of my favorite shows in the world, Desperate Housewives, the creator of the show pitched a prequel series that's going to be set in 1966. Now, there's something about Desperate Housewives that I don't think any other show will be able to top in just the way it's so, like, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I wish that I could erase my mind just to go back and rewatch that show because it's that good. And obviously a lot of the actresses, you know, Terry Hatcher, Marcia Cross, I think they all would be so willing to do a reboot. I know Eva, she wanted to do a reboot really bad. I don't think there's talks for that right now, but I think a prequel could be kind of good. Maybe. I would more so like to see the original ladies. But anyway, after 20 years, the Desperate Housewives creator is ready to return to the Wisteria Lane of another era. But I would probably want to do the idea in an earlier decade because the character I miss writing the most is actually Wisteria Lane. It was the most fun playground anyone in the history of television has ever had because we own the whole street. That is so true. Like, the main character is Wisteria Lane, if you think about it. But I know that street like the back of my hand. When someone streets a commercial on that street, I know it instantly. I know all the houses, the geography. It was such a fun place to write for. And there's times when I go, you know what? I wonder if I could write Wisteria Lane in like 1966. But he said that 70,000 people have asked him to do a reboot. And the truth of the matter is that he has a couple ideas to do it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He said, if I did the chance to do the show again, I'd be better at the job. I learned so much. But if you do a reboot, you have to be really good and have a good artistic reason to do it. At some point, I'll sit down with someone and go, okay, let's talk about if there is a good enough why to do it. And I like that because obviously we know that there's a lot of shows and movies that are done in a different way. And it's kind of like, did you even think about this? But I think if you do sit down and kind of think about, okay, do I want to do this? Would the fans like this? Is there a reason for it? I think if it gives a good context into the show, maybe hint at some things, I think that would be really fun for the audience. So I'm all for it because I love the show. But we'll see what happens. All right, our next story is our last story. That's kind of sad. But it's some foodie news because McDonald's is bringing back the snack wrap. Now, I've never had a snack wrap. I've never heard of a snack wrap. But when this news came about, everyone was freaking out online. And so I texted a couple people and I was like, have you guys like had this? And like apparently it was a big thing and then it just went away. So apparently 2 days after they announced the McRib is returning, which gag me, ew. But they announced that another fan favorite will be returning in 2025. So on Good Morning America, the McDonald's president, Joe, said the snack wrap will be back next year. Now, I think the snack wrap has always been in Europe, right? Because I think the McDonald's in Europe have, to me, it looks like much better food than, I couldn't tell you the last time I've had McDonald's, but apparently it has a cult following. And he said that he gets so many emails in my inbox about the product and it's the most popular thing requested to bring back. So he said, I'm not going to tell you exactly when in 2025 for competitive reasons, but it will be back. So is the snack wrap, what is in a snack wrap? A snack wrap. Okay, chicken tenders, lettuce, shredded cheese, ranch, and a tortilla. Okay. I can see how that would be good and how people would like it because it seems like a somewhat healthier, as healthy as it can be a McDonald's version. Maybe I'll try one for science, but I will be honest, I'm not a wrap girly. I don't really like things wrapped in a tortilla. I don't know why. I just never have. But if it has that big of a fan base, maybe I should try it out and see how it goes. But I just thought I would put that in here for any of you guys because apparently this is one of the most popular things that McDonald's ever had. So exciting news for them and for all of you guys. You know what I want McDonald's to have? I think it's the one in Europe, but they have like it's not a mozzarella stick, maybe it is, but it's like something with mozzarella, and like I love a good like cheese stick mozzarella. Oh my gosh, I never get them because I know like they're bad, but like that would be so good. Like there's nothing like some fried cheese, even though my stomach will hate me the next day. Sometimes they're just good. But anyways, those are all the stories we have for today. I can't believe it's December. Oh my gosh, I literally can't. But yeah, that's all we have for today. Just some housekeeping again. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube, follow the Instagram. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, just go to the top and hit 5 stars. It would seriously mean so much to me. Go read the article if you haven't already. And then again, next week's episode won't be out on Saturday because we will be in New York on Saturday. So it will probably be out Monday or Tuesday. And I think that's everything. I'm so glad you guys have tuned back in, and then we'll be getting into 2025, which is seriously insane. I can't even believe that, because then it's my birthday. I'm going to be a quarter of a century, which I cannot believe. But anyways, I love you guys seriously so much, and I hope everyone has an amazing next week. I can't wait to catch you guys up on all of my New York travels if I find any good books to read. And yeah, I guess that's all for now, and I will see you guys next week for some more hot gossip, hot takes, stories, and advice that will have you saying literally what. Bye, guys.